It's just what I'm going to do. It's kind of sunny out today. It's kind of nice. Today is Friday, March 16th, and I didn't get to go for my walk today. I was going to go for a walk. I was getting all ready to go for a walk, and then Jim got called into work early, and Kylie didn't have school today, and Denise was going away for the weekend for a quilting thing with her friends, and so I told her that Kylie could just stay here. And Kylie made some cupcakes, and so my whole house smells like cupcakes. But I'm not going to have any. I've decided I'm not going to have any because, no, I don't need it. But I'm going to stay on plan today. I always do really well on Fridays because I know I got to get weighed tomorrow, so it's not like a big success story for me. It's just what I do. I do like that as the time goes on that I get better and better at this weight loss journey that I'm on, and I snap right back to it right away. Like I said yesterday, I had what was it? What did I have at the Noodles and Company? I had the what was it called even? I don't even see. Perfect shirt. Can't remember what I had. The pasta something. Pasta marinara, I think it was. And it was high in points. I could have made a better choice. I could have picked something. They have like lower, I could have had a salad with a piece of chicken. I could have, I could have made better choices, but I didn't. That's what I wanted. And cravings all day long, but I kind of knuckled through them, but I kind of gave in like after I finished my video, probably about 10 o'clock at night, which I usually don't eat that late. I had a handful of M&M peanuts. They tasted good though. But you know what? It's like today, move on, track on, let's get going. But I was trying to think of some things to talk to you about today, and I told you I remember all my dreams. And I'm not going to share my dream with you last night, other than to tell you it was a really good dream. It really was. But it got me thinking about my family, my close family that have passed. My dad passed on December 30th, 1983. And then my mother passed on March 1st, 2008. And then my my brother Pat passed on October 25th in 2012, or 11. See, I got the dates mixed up. And, oh good, I got a message, sorry. Got to get rid of it. And then my sister Sue passed on March 10th of 2015. But, I miss them all. I really do miss them all. But my dad's favorite holiday was St. Patrick's Day. His parents were born in Ireland, and he just always took such pride in being Irish. And he would, on St. Patrick's Day, would wear this hat that my brother Michael now has. And he'd have all these buttons, all these Irish buttons. So it was easy to get, every year we'd find a button to give to my dad. And it was like, I don't know how his head wasn't all weighed down like this because he had so many buttons on it. But my brother has since bought a hat, and I'm going to put a picture of him in here right now to show you him in his hat. Kind of carrying on my father's tradition of Irish, celebrating the Irish on that day. But anyway, I did take 2 of the pins from my dad's hat, and I got this little leprechaun that I wear every St. Patrick's Day, and I have the little leprechaun hat that I wear all the time. But, the funerals were sad, obviously. Funerals are meant to be sad. But afterwards, when you have the wakes and you talk about what joy they brought you in your life and how much humor they gave you, not that it was funny, but it kind of lightened the mood, I guess is what you could say. And I don't mean this to be disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. It's just a funny memory from the funerals that we had. And I thought I'd share them with you. Please don't judge me by these. It's just things that my family, you have to find the lighter moment. You're always happy that they're in a better place, but you're always sad because the selfish part of you still wants them with you. And, my father was ill for quite a long time. My mother was ill for quite a long time. My sister Sue was ill for quite a long time. My brother Pat probably was, but didn't let us know that he had been ill for quite a while. So they really are in a better place, but that doesn't mean that, I'm happy that they're there, but I'm sad that I'm sure you know what I mean. I really wish they were here. But anyway, I'll start with my father. I just remember that it was so sad when my father died, and I got the call at 5:30 in the morning, and that he had passed because I didn't go to see him the day before, which is one of my biggest regrets in life. I was too tired. I was just too tired because, you know, like, I just assumed he would be there another day. And that's why you can never assume. You know, you never know. This might be your last moment with somebody. I did go every day before that, so I don't have, you know, like, I don't beat myself up, but I do feel sad that I didn't see him the day before he passed. But I threw the phone away after that. I would never use the phone. If I was in the room where the phone would ring, I'd always go into another room and answer the phone, because only that phone only gave you bad news. And so one day Jim just threw the phone away because he said, "You're not ever going to use it again," and he bought another phone. I know it's superstitious, but that's just what I did. But at the funeral, when my grandmother came, and I know that no parent should ever bury their own child. And I know this will sound like a morbid video, and hopefully you'll see the humor in it too. I'll get to that. But my grandmother was still alive. But I think that God realized that my father would not be able to handle his mother passing. When my grandfather died, my father took it so hard that my Uncle Ed got on a plane to fly back with my dad because they were so worried about him flying home alone, and then just turned around and got back on another plane and flew back to Boston because he just knew. So my father was way closer to his mother than his father, so it was just, you know, we just knew it was going to be bad. But anyway, my grandmother came, and she wanted to give my father a kiss in the coffin. She wanted to give him a kiss. And so my Uncle Frank, my Uncle Leo, my Uncle Jim, and then my Uncle Bob had lifted my grandmother up, because she was a short, stocky woman, to lean over to give my father a kiss. And as she was leaning over, she kind of like was pushing on the coffin. And then we were sitting there like mortified, because she was pushing the coffin off of the stand that it was on. Now the four sons had the dilemma of, do we drop our mother or do we save our brother? You know, so it was just, and luckily Mike and Pat were really close. Those are my brothers, were really close, and they ran over and they helped with the coffin so that it wouldn't come off. But it was kind of, you know, like, it wasn't humorous, but we find humor in that now. I know, black humor, but that's just what we do. Please don't judge me. Please don't judge me. But then when they put the kneeler back, they didn't put the stands right, you know, they didn't click them into place. And so then the next set of mourners that came in, they knelt on the bottom of the one side where they didn't lock it in, and the kneeler went flying this way. And so the person that was kneeling went flying. And I just kind of think it was my dad playing tricks. I really did. So then we were sitting in the family room, just, you know, talking. And I was like listening to the music, you know, the background music they play all the time. And my girlfriend had been there at the time with me, and we were talking, and she just kind of looked at me, and I looked at her at the same time, and I said, "Oh, please tell me that's not the song they're playing." And she said, "Yeah, that's the song they're playing." I said, "I can't believe that's the song they're playing." The song was "This Time We Almost Made It." Once again, I think it was my father. So I went to the funeral director and I said, do you hear the thing? She said, "Well, we buy a loop, you know, whatever, like different songs." And so I said, "Well, wait till it comes back on the loop." And then we're listening, and he was like listening, and then it hit him. "This time we almost, oh no, I am so sorry." So he went and he got rid of it, and we never heard it again. So that was the funny story from my father's funeral. From my mother's funeral was the fact that my mother loved to go to the casino. My mother loved to gamble. She was a big casino goer. And so my nephew Steve always said that he was going to put some chips into her coffin for her, so that she would have some chips to play in heaven. You know, you can't. We have the superstition that when you go and visit somebody at the grave, you have to at least leave a penny, because Jesus. My dad always said that, you know, St. Peter might have an entrance fee, so he wanted to make sure he had enough money to get in. So it was always like we always had that belief. So we always had, like, we put some money in my dad's pocket when he, you know, passed, so that, you know, like, just in case. You never want to take, you know, a chance, just in case, because at least Catholics, we have collections for everything. So maybe there is a collection to get in. So we wanted to make sure he had at least some money in his pocket. So anyway, so Steve put the poker chips in my mother's coffin, and like by her side type of thing. And then somebody came by to you know, like they touched my mother's hair or something. I don't know what they did, but they kind of nudged the coffin, and then just then all the chips that Steve had bought for her started falling down the side between the mattress and the coffin itself. And when it hit the bottom of the coffin, it would go clink, 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 clink. And he had like 20 of the chips. So we had to, and we're all just sitting there. We didn't want to laugh, but it was kind of funny. So there was like little click, click, clicks, so going down. So that was the fun thing for my mother's funeral. I mean, you got to look at something happy for a funeral. You just really do. It just makes it, you know, whatever. And then my brother Pat, his favorite Elton John song was Funeral for a Friend, which is a really long song. I think it's like 11 or 12 minutes long. It's a really long song. And it's got a lot of organ music and stuff like that. And so I went to the organ director for his funeral, and I asked if they could play it. And, you know, my organist was a little stogie, I guess. And he wasn't really sure about it, you know. He says, I'm going to have to listen to the music just to see first, to see if it's appropriate. You know, as soon as you hear Elton John, you know, whatever. So at Pat's funeral, we sat there for 11 minutes before the priest came in. I mean, the priest came in with this as his procession song, but then he was at the altar waiting for the song to end, thinking this is ever going to end. And we played the whole 11, 12 minutes just for Pat. And then for Sue, when we bought our grave sites, we knew that Sue was going to pass, but Sue wasn't accepting that she was going to pass. And she didn't have a grave site, and so we were trying to tell her. So we were looking for graves. And so as it is, my family, my kids especially, make fun of the fact that we're so close and we're so together all through life, that we do everything together, that when we went and bought our grave sites, we have them all in a row. So we bought a whole row of grave sites. And so like Sue with her husband Bruce, and then Mary with her husband Don, and then me with Jim, and Denise with Gary. But Mike didn't want to be in the ground. He wanted to be up in the mausoleum. So we had to find a spot up in the mausoleum that overlooked the grave site so that he could see us. He's dead. He's not going to see us. But Mike in his mind thinks he's going to oversee us. And him and Molly are going to go in the wall there. So we would find like a strip of like a row of land that we liked. And then we would go into the mausoleum to see if Mike could see the grave sites from where he wanted to, and if there was an available. It was like a whole rigmarole. But anyway, so we figured out this one row, and Mary liked it because we go to Resurrection Cemetery, which is a Catholic cemetery, and that's where our plots are. And to have like a tall monument on your grave, you have to pay for 2 sites, and but for the most part, you just have a plaque in the ground. I have a plaque in the ground. That's what I have. But and I'm not a grave goer. I go the day you die, and that's it. I don't believe you're there. I believe you're up in heaven, and I can feel you wherever I'm at. But like when my relatives come out of town, and they want to go to the gravesite, I do bring them, and because it's just, you know, that's just not me. It's my brother Michael, my daughter Christy, my sister Mary. They're grave goer people. So, you know, the graves are very well taken care of. So if I would think that if they weren't taken care of, then I would go, but that's just not me. But anyway, so where was I going with it? Oh, so Mary found this grave where there's this beautiful tall statue of an angel, and for the grave marker. And so Mary said, well, this is where I want to be, because she's on the other side of it, so the angel still looks like it's Mary's angel. So we said, okay, and then Susie kept saying all the time when she was, you know, she said, well, I'm going to be buried there. That's where I'm going to be buried. And Mary kept saying, no, no, no. And then Susie's famous saying, which we should have put on her tombstone, is just kidding. Because Susie would say what she really, really felt, but then when she was done, she'd say, just kidding. But we knew she wasn't kidding. We knew she was serious, but she'd say, just kidding. And I got to get going because this is almost too long. You can have an extra video today. But anyway, so when we were burying Sue at the grave, Mary says, I don't believe this. They dug the wrong grave site, and Susie's in Mary's grave. And the hole was already built, and we watched the casket going into the ground. And so Mary, I'm sure when she was going lowering in, said, no, just kidding. Anyway, okay, those are my memories. It has nothing to do with weight loss. I apologize for that, but I wanted to share a story with you today. So, and this is a story for my family too in the future if they ever want to learn about their wacky grandma. So I'll talk to you guys